Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be doing a stock analysis on Ryanair. Now, of course, you probably know what Ryanair is. It is an airline company and I like this company quite a lot. So if you like this analysis, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, remember, this isn't financial advice. This is purely for entertainment and educational purposes. Now, airline companies, it is a branch of investing that many investors don't like or they love. It is very, very ice or water. Now, our beloved Warren Buffett has said the one thing he won't invest in is airlines because he doesn't understand them and he does invest in what he doesn't understand. Now, there is one airline that I like, and that is Ryanair. And that is simply because of their volume. It is the biggest in Europe, and they have the newest fleet of any airline in the world. And you might be thinking, well, why is that relevant? Well, that is because that means that their planes are newer, more efficient, and they break less. Imagine it be the same as a trucking company. Would you rather invest in the one that has 800 old trucks that break more often than not, or invest in one that has 500 spanking new trucks that almost never break down? Of course, they have less trucks, but they do have newer trucks, which means they have to pay less in repairs. And that is about the same with Ryanair. At least it was back in the day, but now they even have more than their main competitors, which is EasyJet and Wizz Air. Now I will go over some graphs as well as some RSI and some SMA. Now, as you can see right now, we are currently trading in 46 US dollars right here, and we have seen a bit of up and down recently. Now, as you can see here, we did back in April of 24, we were up in 60, so we're down about 25% from that. But before that, as you can see, we were down in much lower than we are now back in 22, right after the travel boom really took off in Europe, especially. Ryanair is only in Europe, you should know that. And there are some parts of Middle East, but just think of them as only being in Europe because that is 99% of where they operate. Now, as you can see back from 22, it was down in $22, and we do see some dips and some highs. Of course, as you can see here, it increased all the way up to 45, then it dipped, then up to 54, then it dipped. So airline business is quite cutthroat, and it goes up and down quite a lot. That is something you need to be wary of. This isn't going to be a stock that is just sitting still, but this is going to be the one stock that maybe one year it makes you 40%, the next year it loses you 10%, and then makes 70% the year after. That is something to keep in mind. Now, as you can see, currently we have been trading sideways quite a bit. As you can see here, ever since basically back in September of 24, you might think, well, we have had spikes and lows. Well, yes, but more often than not, we return to this point here. As you can see, we have spikes, then it drops, and we have spikes, then it drops. Let me just draw some lines for you that makes it a bit more clear that we are actually trading somewhat evenly. Let me just do this. Now, as you can see here, let me just change the color of those so that you can actually see them a bit better. Orange on that one, let's make this one up here blue. So you can see we are trading in this area now, which means that currently we are actually almost in the middle, and with chances are we are gonna take a dive. Maybe we will, maybe we don't. But I am from Europe, and I know personally, and this is the primary carrier that I use, airplane carrier, also just because it might be cheap as shit, but the flights are good and it gets there fast. I don't care if I'm gonna pay 15 euros more to have a free bottle of water. I really don't care, and I doubt that many of my other Europeans will question me on that, because if you want to fly something better, you would buy Turkish Airlines or KLM or Lufthansa, not Ryanair. So I think it is going to increase. Also, just because of the political turmoil there is, I think there is going to be more than we expect who isn't going to travel to the United States on vacation in the next year or two, and then they're going to stay in Europe, which is, of course, chances are you're going to need two aircraft tickets or airplane tickets because you need to get to your destination and you also need to get home again. So that is a thing I think is going to happen this year. Now, as you can see down here in the earnings, sometimes we beat them, sometimes we don't. They guide decent. We did have this slip up and then this one where they overshot it crazily. I don't like it when company does that. Of course, it is always great when they surprise, and it is bad when they don't surprise. But I hate it when it is so close to each other that they miss it by a third, and then they beat it by almost 200%. That is a bit not unprofessional, but I think it's bad when they can't guide that great. Now, we did also see a stock split of 2 to 5 back in, what is that, September of 24. And I love stock splits more often than not. If you buy in at a stock split or before, you are going to make money, because overall it just increases as there will be more stocks, which increase volume, which means more people can get in. And something that is very unique for Ryanair is their great dividends. They pay out great dividends, and they're an airline company. This very rarely happens. Of course, as you can see, they paid out in January this year. They also paid out in September of last year. And then they also paid out in January. So sometimes it isn't that great, but is it 2 times a year? No, of course it isn't, because it's an airline. So their earnings are a bit more unstable than many other businesses. So you can't say it's going to be every time or it's going to be never. It really is ups and downs. Now the income statement, as you can see here, in 19 it was quite nice. Then we did see the Corona years where they don't make any money, and then it increased in 22 and 23. Now we actually don't have the complete earnings for 2024 yet, because they have a earnings year that is a bit off the regular calendar year, so it's going to come sooner rather than later. Now if we look at the performance on this, it is quite insane how high sometimes they get. Let's just go back to 2010. As you can see here, we have many years with huge returns and some years with quite poor returns. If we go back even further, it's gonna be the same. As you see, great double-digit returns, poor double-digit losses. As I said in the beginning of this video, it's gonna be high and it's gonna be lows. So of course, that is something you need to be wary of, but I do like it a lot. I do think it is gonna be one. Maybe you can get in lucky at, let's say, $30, maybe $40, and it's gonna increase. Or maybe you're gonna get it at $50 and you're gonna take a hit. Well, then I would just, what I always do in that situation is I then buy more, because when in trouble you gotta double. So let's say you bought at 60. Well, you're shit out of luck down here in 38. Well, am I gonna sell for a loss? No, I'm not. I'm gonna buy in more at this so that I at least half my original purchasing price. That is what I like to do. Not half it, but let's say I bought at 60 and here at 35 or 38. Then I would say, can I hit it at maybe 43 or 48? So I buy more down here than I did up here, because I have to offset the change. Now the technicals on this for the day, as you can see, is a buy. It's even a strong buy in the moving averages. For the month, it is still a strong buy in the moving averages and a buy in the summary. Now you might wonder, why is that when it's up and down, up and down? Well, we had this golden cross right here, which means that the short-term momentum is higher than the long-term momentum. So right now it's great if you like technicals, because that means that maybe in the short term we are going to see this resurgence back up to 60. Who knows? Who doesn't know? And as you can see here, it isn't one where it's like a slow increase like this. I'm just going to show you here using these. It isn't a, that's a bit too steep. Whoops, let me just redraw this. Damn it. Like so, it isn't going to be like that, but it is, chances are it's going to be more like that, as you can see, and that is because that is just the way airline stocks work. It is ups and downs. It might do the opposite. Who knows where it goes like this? So be wary of it, of course. Now let's check the analyst rating. As you can see here, 22 ratings, 11 strong buy, 2 buy, 8 hold, and 1 sell. So more than not says to buy or hold it. So maybe if you bought it at 60, I would hold it. I would actually, no, as I said, I would buy more. If I bought it at, let's say, 40 here, I would hold it, wait for it to increase even more. If I bought it at, let's say, 10, maybe I would sell, get a great profit. As you can see over here on the annuals as well, they just think they're going to increase their money, and that is because they are simply too dominant in the European market. So yeah, I like this stock quite a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, now if you did like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment any other videos you want me to make in the comment section below.